Well, I keep trying to get rid of the shadows, you guys, but I'm not sure. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome. This is Becky at Aunt Beck's Creations, and we're going to do pick 10 on fabric per Mary's request. And I was going to do it on a piece of the drop cloth that I picked up at Harbor Freight. But could I find that drop cloth? No. But I found a bolt, a partial bolt of some muslin that I bought years ago when I worked at Joann's, and at Christmas they did this thing where they would sell cheapy bolts of muslin. So this was really thin muslin. And what I did is I ripped some squares and then I zigzagged on the outside, and then I washed the fabric. You want to make sure you've washed the fabric before you try to paint on it to remove the sizing that they put on to all fabrics at the factories where the fabric is made. They put a sizing, that keeps the fabric smooth. And you want to remove that. Well, then when it came out of the washing machine, I did not put it in the dryer. What I did is I dried it with my iron, and I ironed it smooth, and it was very thin. So I have put some iron-on interfacing on the back, a bit substantial interfacing. You can see it's pretty thick. It's not hard, but it's the thicker of them. It's old interfacing, so I'm having some issues with it sticking, but it's on good enough for what we're going to do. We're going to paint and do our pick 10 on this. And then we're in another live session. We'll turn it into a bag, and that I will need some input from y'all. What kind of bag do you want? And also, if we are going to make like a pencil pouch or something like that, we might want to fold our fabric in half. And maybe just with a pen in the area beyond where I put the stay stitching in, I'm just going to take a pen and mark my halfway point like that. That way we can do if we're going to have directional design and we want to make a pencil case, we'll need half of it going up this way and half of it going back this way. So you'll have two sections, because we'll cut it in half after we're done, and you'll want two sides facing up and down. And it's easier to, as we are working on it, to make that decision now, if that makes sense. So hi Violet, hi Kendra, hi Brittany, hi Journey, and Nancy. All right, I'm just going to go over a few of the things that I pulled out. I've got my thrifted glass cutting board, and I've got my brayer. I've got some paint brushes here, and I tried to find some with firm bristles because they work better on fabric. I've got a few stencils, and I can pull out more. Makeup sponges and something to mix paint on, and some paint. And I also pulled out, I've never used this, I got it at Walmart, Anita's textile medium, and you're supposed to mix this 2-to-1 with your paint to make it for fabric. You don't necessarily, if you do not plan to ever wash this, you don't need this. If you're going to make a pencil case that you're just going to make it and be happy with it, you don't need this. But I want to stabilize it because I might decide to wash it. I don't know. So I'm just going to try this textile medium, and it's 2-to-1 on the paint. So the first thing I would say, Callie's come to see us. Hello, Callie. We can't have that open right now. Why don't you go out on the porch? I thought I had you on the porch. Didn't I have you on the porch? Did Gregory let you back in? Go find something to do. All right, so I want to add color first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some color up here, and then I'm just going to periodically, I'm going to twist my piece so that I remember to work up from my fold line, and I've got my indicators here of where that is, and I'll try not to go over them with paint. So yeah, this was an idea brought up by Ruth Lamb. She comes in the chat periodically. I had to change my time today because Scott is on this weird split shift where he has to work basically 4 hours on first, 4 hours on second. Brittany says she doesn't sew, but she likes to watch. Well, if you wanted to do this on fabric and then just use the fabric in some other way, you could do that. So whatever. Everybody do what they want to do. If you want to do the prompts on paper and you don't want to do it on fabric, just go for it. But I'm going to go ahead, add color to this. And because it's springtime, I thought I would do blues and greens for my background. So prompt 1 is add blues and greens. And I need a piece of paper to write these down because somebody's going to want them later. And my brain is like mush. I had to run Scott's safety shoes to him. He forgot to put them on. Add blues and greens. Now you can add it with a sponge, but if you are going to sew it, you will want to put the fabric on thin. That is why I'm using the glass. If you're doing it on fabric and you're going to want to sew it, you want your paint to be thin. I'm going to apply mine with a brayer, and I'm going to mix this up. Bye, honey. It said 2 to 1, so that's my puddle of textile medium. And I was going to put some paint out. Hi, Mary. So we're going to do this today. That might not be even. And I meant to get a palette knife to kind of mix these together. I have never used the textile medium, just an FYI. But I figured since we're doing it on fabric and I have it, I should try to use it. So I'm going to say that's mixed up pretty good. And now I'm going to just leave this off to the side. I won't be able to bring it back over. And see, that's got some other paints coming off on it, but I'm not going to worry about it because I think that just adds texture. And we're going to build the color up slowly because fabric acts different than paper. And I'm just going to go until there's no more paint to put on here. If you don't want to put yours on with a brayer, and we're only going to do 10 prompts because we'd be here all day trying to do more than that. We'll mix it up again. This is all just background. And of course, anything I have on underneath here on my drop paper, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that in the paint, like the globs of paint and wrinkles in the paper that I have on here. And I'm not even caring if it kind of mixes together on my glass right now. It just says makes regular acrylics permanent for painting on fabric. And it wasn't all that expensive. And I am mixing it as close to 2-to-1 as I can get. And I'm just building color. Yeah, I thought Scott was going to make me late getting on here. And then I thought Greg was going to make me late getting on because he was watching something very loud on the TV. But I knew he had to leave soon to get to work himself. I think I'll just leave those just like that. Then we'll roll some green on. If you don't want to do blues and greens, you can pick 2 other colors. I'm just going with blues and greens because I like it. Now tomorrow I'm going to do my show and tell. I don't have a project in mind. I'm just going to show how far I got on my UFOs, my unfinished projects, and share some things about the challenge I'm going to enter on Instagram. It's the Frugal Frocks Challenge. And I'm not going to go into it as deep in detail as the sewing vloggers are because they've been doing it. Each person takes a day that has signed up to take part in it, that they're the regular sewing bloggers. And every single one of them has said what it's about. So all I'm going to say is find a free pattern on the internet, use fabric from your stash, share your project on March 31st on Instagram. And I'll share the hashtags you have to use and who you need to tag. Violet is posting a recipe for homemade fabric medium, which is approximately 2 teaspoons of vinegar, 2 teaspoons of water, and 2 teaspoons of glycerin. That's an F and Y and I. I got a little carried away there on that group. But the object is just to get color everywhere, right? And I just thought the roller would add an interesting texture. And then we're going to do some other things on top. I think I'm going to turn it so I'm getting stuff on here a little bit differently. And I think I'm going to pick this whole thing up and just lay it on my glass plate. And because I have the interfacing on my fabric, it's bleeding through, but it's stopping at the interfacing. See, it's getting locked in there. All right, I've got a couple more blue greens that I'm going to add, and then we'll start doing some other prompts, and I might get y'all involved in that. So if you didn't want to make a bag out of this, you could do a pillow. You could do, y'all can come up with some ideas for ways to use your fabric after you create it. You could do a journal cover. But building the color on fabric is totally different than on paper because paper's not this thirsty. And I'm just trying to color block some in. I think I want to pull some of the green, the light green I used at the beginning. Hi, Kathy Whitney. And what else was I going to talk about? I should have made, I've got to do like Mary and start making a list, because I get on here and I get to playing and I forget everything. I'm just trying to build the color by switching back and forth. I'm going to even lay this back in this paint that I got on here and just kind of pick it up. I just have a glass cutting board that I got at the thrift store over here. If you wanted to, you could pull out your jelly plate and do jelly plate printing on your fabric. Yeah, I chose blue and green, but if you guys want to use different colors because you don't like blue and green, feel free. It's just drinking up the paint, the fabric is. And because I'm using the roller, it's going on nice and thin, so I won't have any problems sewing it on my sewing machine. All right, let's add some lines with a card now. And I'm going to get a wet one and wipe that off so that it doesn't dry. I'm still going to keep using the glass cutting board. Hi, Gina. I'm just going to use a credit card or an old gift card or whatever, and I'm not removing any paint from the glass cutting board or any of that. I'm just going to use old, I think this is one of those, no, it was one of those, they do Olive Garden and all those different other restaurants. And I'm going to continue with the blue, and I'm going to use Bluebird to make my stripes or lines. So prompt 2 is add lines. If I can get some Bluebird to come out. That's probably way more than I'll need. And I'm going to go ahead and mix some textile medium with it. Yeah, Violet gave a wonderful recipe for making your own textile medium at home. I'll have to go back up through chat and write that down so I can put it in the description box. Or if you could PM me it on Facebook, Violet, I'll add it to my description box after. And then that way everybody will have it. Or put it in one of the groups or a couple of the groups. Trying to get it to pick up a little bit more paint. Fabric is thirsty. And I have another piece of fabric already prepared that I think I will grab and just plop on this glob of paint I have on here and use it kind of as my cleanup piece. And I'll show you the cleanup piece at the end, and I probably will, take it a little bit farther. I'm just going to the edge, not necessarily that I'll use all of it, but you never know. It might come in handy in slow stitching to have the, the little border saved aside. All right, let me get my other piece of fabric, and I'm just going to plop it on here. And pick this up. All right. I didn't write that down. So prompt 2 was add lines. All right, let's make some circles. Add circles. And you can use any colors you want after. I'm just going to use this little center from the tape, and I'm going to use red. I'm going to use Cinnamon Drop. Cinnamon Drop and Ink Spot are my two favorite paint colors right now. I don't know why. I just love that deep, deep blue and this bright, bright red. The size of the fabric, I just ripped it, so I'm not sure. Let me see. This is about... It's about an 18-inch square. There's 12 to there. Yeah, it's about an 18-inch square. Oh, I didn't mix that with any medium. I probably don't need to, but I'll just mix it in there. This is circles out too. And do some other colors in circles. Always remember to do some off your page. All right, I'm going to get something larger. I'll pick up this red with my my extra piece of fabric. This is going to end up with just some spots and splotches here and there. Clean my ring off on it and everything. It'll be interesting. Now I had a big tape roll, and that would give me some bigger ones. I'm going to do some orange. The cleanup one might end up being really interesting because it's catching everything. I had so much fun doing Janet Nash's pick 5 plus 3. That's what I ended up calling it, because she said, let's do a pick 5, and then she started adding extras. Oh, that could be cool. I wonder if I can make it do that again. Nope, because I want to. How did I get it to do that? It made a bubble. Oh, well, I can't make it do it again. All right, we'll clean this off on our other thingamabobber here. Could be interesting to have a piece that's just the cleanup. It could be your brush bag or something. I don't know. The problem is it is bleeding through this one because everything's so thick, but it's starting to look pretty cool. All right. Let's do some stenciling next. And I might pull back to some of the colors I had before. I think they have them in the stores, Mary, so I would say yes. We're going to stencil now. And I have some, I think I'm going to keep up with the circles, and I'm going to do this with the spiral and just use sponges, but I'm trying to decide which one. And maybe I'll put it inside the orange circles a little bit. What do you think? Put it inside the orange and try not to go over the orange, but stay inside it a little bit. Let's see. I think this color would be real pretty. And I'm going to use a sponge, and I will have to dab it off really good. Maybe they did sell them all in the fall, because usually it is the fall, come to think of it, when you plant bulbs. But another place is, Mary, you might want to try is, if you have one, is that Tractor Supply Company. They do bulbs too. Let's see what luck I have doing this. Put that in there. And just lift it up. I don't care if it's not complete. Callie, what are you doing? That looks pretty cool. I wish Mother Earth would get with it on what she wants to do, because I got so cold during the night last night. It was just awful. Right next. Uh-oh. Right next door to Hobby Lobby. Uh-oh. That might be dangerous, Mary. I love to go to Tractor Supply. I got the best wool socks. They were like $15 for 3 pair, but they are really nice. I'm babying them, and they don't go in the dryer at all, and they're washed on a cool temperature. All right, might get some on there in the circles. They look brighter on the camera than they do in real life. All right, now I want you guys, what should we do next? Do we want to do another stencil, or would we like to do, let's see, what can we do? Let's apply paint with a household item. Use a household item. 5. Household item. And I'm going to pull this off and start a new one, because when I get close to the bottom of a Post-it, I can't seem to write anymore. So that's 5 prompts. Using a household item, and I think I'm going to grab a flip-flop, actually. Or yeah, I think I will. I'm just going to grab this flip-flop, this one here, and I'm going to get us a different color. But, oh, I don't have any purples. Let's put some purple on there. We'll throw everything at it. Uh-oh, nap time. Mary, what might be fun is if you write the prompts down and then just put them in a pouch or something and pull them out at a different rate. That way you wouldn't know what they were. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made sense. And now I'm going to keep up, but I'm going to flip the flip-flop over because there's a different texture on the other side. I'm not even going to care that it's kind of blobbing there. Because even if there's messes up, they can be fixed. No biggie. All right, making a mess. Oh, I see. 2 through 9 through random org. Okay, that works. I'm going to, I don't know if I'll be up in the morning to play along, but if I am, I will. I might do it with you over top of my pickup paper here. Although it's looking kind of cool too. Okay, let's see. Number 6. I had thought what I could do is I'm going to let this set for a minute. I was thinking let's add lace for number 6. Add lace. And I've got my sewing machine behind me, but I want to dry this first. Add lace for number 6. And I was thinking if I did it in small pieces, what I might do is just stitch it on real quick. Not real sturdy, just to tack it on. And then do some slow stitching and stuff. Because I got to thinking what could be fun is to cut out the shape that I'm going to make a bag and then do doodling with stitches and then I might even add beads to it too. So like on the body of the side of a pencil case or a makeup bag or whatever I decide to make out of this, if I did the slow stitching on the sides and added pieces of fabric, embroidery floss and that kind of stuff, and slow stitch squares of fabric on top or circles or flowers or whatever. Ooh, I like the stencil through the lace. And then I could add some more lace on top. So just write down these ideas and go and use them. So I might do that. Let me go get a piece of lace. So I'm going to change that from add lace to use lace as a stencil will be 6. Use lace as stencil. And I could save the lace and stitch it back on with slow stitching as my final doodly bits. Let me go grab the lace I want to use. I'll be right back. This is lace that's on a roll, and there's some pieces already cut here, and I still have a bunch on the roll. But what if I put that on there and we stencil with it? that. I don't know what it's going to do because it's awful. Let's see. And then slow stitch this back on, all painted up. Let's see. Well, lace is usually white or ecru, right? Well, I've got some white and I've got some vanilla ice cream. And then I might add one of the blues back on. So I'm going to mix up 3 piles of paint here to choose from. Because the fabric is so thirsty, I'm going to try to mix up a big old blob of each kind and have a different sponge for each one. I'm going to bring back some of this blue here. And then the Anita stuff. Mix it up. I'm not even caring if the white and stuff picks up other colors. I'll just wipe the palette knife off on the side fabric. Okay, then I gotta mix some with this one. Yeah, I had to drive way up I-77 to take Scott his shoes. He got to work and realized he didn't have his safety shoes on. He was all proud of himself because he had his forearm guards on his arm, but he forgot to check his shoes before he left. And we had gone for a walk, so he had just his walking shoes on, which is not appropriate or safe out there. All right, that sponge is, I don't want to use that one. All right, I'm just going to see what we get here. This is all an experiment just for you guys. Uh-oh. Looks like I'll be helping Scott do his mother's taxes this weekend. All right, I'm going to use the same sponge in the cream color and add some cream on here. I'll be interested to see what it looks like when I pull this away. I might, when I slow stitch it back on, put some kind of printed fabric underneath the pieces so it's like layered, and maybe add beads in with it too. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow after I do my show and tell. All right, I'm moving to the blue. Sorry, I get to concentrating and I forget to talk to you guys. Sorry about that. Mary, I hope everything went well today for you and your brother. You'll have to let us know if everything went okay. My mother-in-law's had both of her shots. All right. Let's lift this up and see what happens. Not much. It just looks like blobs, but the lace is pretty. I'll keep the lace and slow stitch it back on. Let's see. I need to set it somewhere. Let me get a tray. And I'll put it on one of my thrifted trays to dry somewhere. It's wet on both sides is why I want to put it on the tray. So it just looks kind of like clouds now on my thing, but the lace sure turned out pretty with the different colors on it. So I'm thinking now I might want to dry this a little bit, and I'm going to pick up this paint real quick. Maybe we'll do something else where the lace didn't work. But I still got some more color on there, so I'm still going to count the prompt as done. Right? You just count it. Count it and move on. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some black now. I know, or ink spot, dark blue. Get my ink spot out. It's almost empty. That's ultra. That's not the ink spot. This is ink spot. Yes. Ink spot. I'm going to do another stencil, but use the ink spot. Now I'm going to use it over what I just did. And I'm going to use these squares I've got here already out. Let's dry it just a little bit before I do that. It's pretty wet. The lace will fall into the background. Well, if I put a fabric behind it when I slow stitch, I'm going to chop it into smaller pieces and put a fabric behind it so it'll pop. Like maybe put an orange fabric behind it or yellow even. Maybe if I had a lace that was more dense. That's pretty thin. You mean the painted lace will fall into the background? I'll have to do some thinking on it. All right, I'm going to do these real quick. I'm just eyeballing the 2-to-1, so I don't know if I've even gotten the mix right, but we're going to call it good enough because we're just playing, right? If it starts looking too ugly, always scrape over it. All right. Let's play with this stencil. Let's do where that other flip-flop had gotten kind of crazy. Let's make 7, just add dark blue. Or ink spot if you have it. 7 is add dark blue. Any way you want. If you want to scrape it, you can. If you want to do more stenciling, you can. If you want to use what you've already used and do some more of it, like more circles or any of that, anything can be repeated. Okay. Okay, Journey, that's no problem. I hope they get to feeling, better. I'm telling you guys, this year has started off kind of stinky with family issues for all of us. I mean, I haven't been on a family call because I seem to be the one that upsets everybody. So, because they ask for my opinion and then when I give it, they don't like it. So, and they get upset and I can't do it. It's a long story, you guys. I was a part of the family during the summers, and the rest of the year I was at grandma's. So I have feels. I have some feels about it all that are not conducive with being the kind of daughter I should be for them, because I feel like my grandma was my mom, and she's been gone since 1992. Now I feel like I've got racing flags all over the place. I got too many squares. So let me write, add dark blue. Any way you want to, you can add dark blue. Let's add this one, number 8, add fabric scraps. And I have a bag of all sorts of trimmings. So I'm going to get some out. Hi, Susan. I'm going to get some out here. Like that could be cool because it's just a piece. I got a big old long strip of that, but it doesn't really match anything. Ooh, look, here's some of that feather fabric. I'm just going to throw the pieces up here. I don't even care if they get paint on them because it's going to be part of this bag. And what I was thinking is I would just lay them down and maybe put just a little glue stick on the back of them to hold them together. And then when this thing dries, I will take it to my machine and just stitch over them. And if you don't have a sewing machine, you could always just sew them on by hand. And I'm not even caring if it's got frayed edges, because won't that just be extra cool that way? Some blue. There's a little piece of lace. Some more lace. Whatever fabric little scraps you got, and as many as you want to add. Sorry. All right, so I'm just going to stick these on randomly here. Tanya said use glue stick, not liquid glue. So I've got some glue stick. If it holds, it holds. If it doesn't, it's going to get stitched on anyway. Journey above, please. Becky, what did you make with the feather fabrics? I made a tote bag. In fact, that was last week's sewing. Try not to get paint on it. But I showed how to make these little bags. See the little tote bag? Feather fabric was on clearance at Hobby Lobby, my Hobby Lobby, or one of the Hobby Lobbies nearby. So I bought a yard and used that. All right, so I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on and just randomly set here. And then I'll go and stitch around them later. Let's chop this one in half, or maybe in 3 pieces. Something's. So let's think of 9 and 10. And a lot of that will depend on how you are going to use fabric that you create. I'm going to make a little bag out of it, or maybe a couple little bags this way. And then I cut it in half this way. I can make 2 little totes out of it. So what I'm thinking is the last 2 prompts need to be maybe we could say thread doodling and beadwork. What do you guys think? Mary says I'm buffering. Thread doodling and beadwork. And do you guys want to make little bags again together using our fabric? I might actually make zipper pouches out of mine. I got to see what kind of zippers I have in my zipper hoard, stash, whatever you want to call it. Let's move these out of the way here so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just randomly putting these down here So 9, thread doodling, which you can do by machine or by hand. And I'm thinking I might do a combination of both. And let's see, that one's attached. This one's not. Actually, let's put that over here. I changed my mind because I'm thinking of if I'm splitting it in half, I want that piece on both of whatever I do. I think I'm going to leave those two connected together just as they are. If you want to slow stitch some other stuff on, like chunks of lace and things like that, whatever you've got, use it. I'm so sorry, guys. I might have to go get a drink. So 9 will be thread doodling. And 10, prompt 10, make a bag. Make a bag. Or whatever you want to. Prompt 10 will be make your final project out of whatever you've done. This is the wrong side. And I've decided my machine that I can't get the part for is going to be for paper now. Mary's bought snaps today. Whoops. I'm just putting enough glue to kind of tack it where I want it. If it starts coming up, I will stick a pin in it. Barbara Clark's here. Hi, Barbara. Well, we've gone through the prompts we're going to do, and now I'm just adding some fabric scraps. Go back and stitch around and that kind of thing. Might work on this some more tomorrow. Try not to get too close to the edge because I need to leave a seam allowance if I'm going to make a bag out of this. And I don't want too many layers to, sew over. Fabric. I think I'm going to let this one ride between the two bags like this. So when I cut it in half, some will be on one bag and some will be on the other. All right. So there's the mess I've made for today. Didn't even use the paintbrushes I got out. And a lot of this will get oomphed up with the stitching and that kind of thing. Mary said, wild card, save the scraps. Thank you for putting the prompts up, Janet. Yes, I'm going to slow stitch. And I've got some, I might clean my hands up and clear a little bit away and get a drink if you guys don't mind watching paint dry. And I'll take my cutting board out to the kitchen so it can be rinsed off. Oh, and I didn't put the pretty feather fabric on. I mean, we got to have that on there. That strip with all the fur on it. All right. Try not to choke at you guys anymore. I want to use this piece here, even with all its frayed bits. This makes it look even cooler. Put glue on here. Frame it and put it on the wall and call it a work of art. Yeah, I'm having trouble with staying connected. So if I lose you guys, oh, I'm glad. I enjoyed seeing the bag. I'm going to put these fabrics up real quick. Not fabrics, paints. Take me 2 seconds here. Wish that frog in my throat would vacate. That is not where I got that from, but it's all right. I guess the rest of it is whatever you decide to do with your piece, because I think what you decide to do with your fabric will be whatever you decide. All right, let's see. I had thought about running it under the sewing machine, but I think I might just stitch it by hand. That's something I can do and watch TV. All right, so there's the piece I did here. And what I might do is go ahead and cut it in half. Fold it like this. And I'm going to blind cut it, so this way. All right. So that'll be a little bag like that. And I might actually do these as zipper bags. And if I do, I will probably cut them in half again down on the bottom and have a seam on the bottom, but I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see. Well, I got to do all the handwork first anyway. So isn't that funny? I cut it in half where I'd marked the sides, and now everything that I put on is in a different position than when I had it before. Isn't that funny? You can also, if you have, I have some markers in the other room. I got to go get them, but they work on fabric, and you could come in and like maybe doodle around your circles and that kind of stuff. Let me go. I'm going to go grab those markers and use them. I need to use the stuff I don't use. I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but this is all my fabric paint. Instead of mixing with the textile medium, I have all this fabric paint. Look, Mary, it's glitter gold. And then I've got basic black. And these are the tulip paints. So if you have tulip paints, you can use those to doodle with too. These pencils, these markers right here are, they work really good on fabric. So I might use some of these and sit here and doodle if you guys want to hang with me while I doodle a bit. I've even got fabric paint brushes and all of this fabric paint. I should have used it up. There's another fabric painting medium, but I've got all different colors in the, this is airbrush fabric paint. I don't know. I've never used it to paint regular. I bought it on clearance. But the Tulip soft fabric paint. It works really good and you can paint with it. So we might do just a painted piece using fabric paints next week. What do you guys think? Do you want to do another piece next week and use fabric paints? I don't know how many people have fabric paints, but it could be fun. It's not too bad because I put everything on with sponges and a roller. It's almost getting dry. I'm going to doodle a little bit and then I'll see how it is to sew. So I've got all these pencils and pens and markers and things. Some of these work better than others. Ooh, look at this. All right, let's see. Let's go around our circles again. But these are actually really for fabric. So I can go around in my red circles and bring them back up to the top if I want to. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I can try to come in closer. I would tell you what kind of pens these were, but it's all in Japanese or Chinese, I think. Kirina, +2 WIN, oil-based. So they're an oil-based marker. I think the Posca pens will also work on fabric. Won't? I think Chelsea told me they would. I think I asked her and she told me that. So let's see. I didn't do this one here. Deborah Brown says she has lots of fabric paint. Well, let's use fabric paint next week and actually paint something with it with paint brushes. So maybe I can come up with some kind of picture. I think that could be fun. And it could be made to be turned into a journal cover for sure. I just thought it would be fun to do some more little zipper bags. See, I could also, instead of making a tote bag, and if I wanted to make a zipper bag that was longer, I mean, more of being deep like this, I could turn it. And what I would do is I would go ahead and split it again so I could put the zipper and the lining in easier. Because when you put a zipper in to a lined bag, you sandwich the zipper between the lining fabric and the outside fabric. Now that's something we could do tomorrow. We could make some bags out of these if I can get some, fancy stitches and stuff done on the slow stitching part of it. Right now, I just want to doodle a little bit more with this pen. Let's move this one over a little bit. Because I think these would be cute little bags for project material or just some markers. Or if you wanted a bag to put paintbrushes in, if you were going to go urban sketching or whatever, you could do a little zipper bag to put brushes in. I think a feline is about to attack us. Join us. Tippy spent the day out on the porch. He wanted to be out in the sunshine. I thought Callie wanted out there too, but she decided she'd rather be in here knocking things over. They are upset with me because I've decided I'm not going to give them 2 or 3 cans of canned cat food a day because they've been wasting it so bad. Scott said he doesn't think they need the extra fat as the weather gets warmer. They have dry food that they can just get, but it's just getting too expensive. So they're mad because they can't talk me into giving them a can every time they beg. Scott said, I've been played by the cats. They said, Mama's a play. We can play her like a fiddle. We're starving. Mama, we're starving. We're so hungry. You haven't fed us since yesterday. So what do you guys think we ought to paint with a fabric paint? Do we want to paint an animal or a bird? Or I'm going to have to think on that. I'm obsessed with birds right now. We've been watching the birds out the front window. 2 a.m., 4, yeah. I wish they'd get past the whole 4 a.m. crap. Quite literally. All right, this has got, this one's got it like a chisel tip. And it actually puts down some glitter too. So I'll just go around that. Make those lines a little wider and more. Especially with Scott on this crazy swing shift. I know it's not going to be long and he's going to be on second shift, so I need to start getting used to it. But I've never been good at the whole flip-flop on shifts. Even when I worked retail and they'd have me close and then be back at like 6 a.m. in the morning, I always said, please don't make me flip like that. I said, that just messes with me. Either have me come in at 6 a.m. or have me close. Don't do that business of having me close and then be here at opening. And it wasn't even for opening. It was to do freight in the morning. I said, I just can't do that. My brain doesn't work that way. Isn't that weird? It acted a little weird there, but that's okay. It didn't act weird. It just added some depth and personality to that section of the piece, right? It picked up some paint is what happened. It's going to glob me up. But hey, at least the markers are getting used. They were sitting in the bag back there. They weren't even getting used. There's another one there. So what's everybody been doing today? I've been trying to catch people and watch videos. I tried to watch some of Laura, but when the guys are here, it's like I can't be involved in anything because I'll be listening and enjoying what's going on, and then they've got a question, or they can't find this, or they can't find that. And it's like, come on, guys. They say, oh, but you know where everything is. I said, because I pay attention to where I have given it a place. If it's someplace you guys can't find it, it's because probably one of you have moved it. And usually doesn't take me long to find it because I just start thinking like them. Oh dear. What pattern are you using, Kendra? I want to start on the corner to corner Afghan, but I also want to finish that sweater I started. And it's sitting over there at the table, just sitting at the last time I showed you guys. I haven't added any to it. Oh, goodness. All right. Let's see if I can clean this. It's a shell stitch. Okay. Huh. Let's use some light blue and go around the dark blue a little bit, squares. Maybe on two sides. It's not showing up too hot. Let's see what else we got here. You can make squiggly lines. It doesn't look like much. Just adding them here and there. It shows up mostly where I've got fabric still exposed. Oh, Kendra, push past that point, because then when you get done and you block it, it'll look perfect. I'm just making little doodling things. I'm wondering how big a zipper will I need for that bag if I do it this way. Wonder what it is. I will need about a 9-inch zipper. And Mary, another thing I found with the zippers If you take and you cut a piece of fabric that's 1 inch wide by about 2 inches long, and you take your zipper and you put it, here's the top of the zipper, and you take that little piece of fabric and put it right sides down to the zipper and meet your ends of your zipper with the edge of the fabric and stitch as close to the zipper as you can, and then fold that fabric back. That fabric will give you some extra workspace so you don't have to get quite as close to the zipper. I don't know if that made sense or not, but I'll show y'all tomorrow when we turn this in. When we turn these into zipper bags, and I'm just going to use fabric from my stash for the lining. I figured that out last week during my chat and craft in my group. I remembered that technique about adding the fabric to the end of the zipper, and it just made a world of difference. I definitely want to make some more project bags. This is a very fine tip black. And again, it doesn't look like I'm doing much, but it looks kind of cool. And if you wanted to, you could come and go around the circles from that stencil. Guys, but if I get too far in toward the center of the table, I can't reach it without standing up. And if you wanted to, you could just lay your stencil back down here and just go around on the inside of the stencil if you wanted, you know, perfect circles. I think there's more circles supposed to be here. Like that. Oh yeah, that was it's your car service day. Tomorrow's the big day. The other big day. Full day. Mary's got a gallivanting, as my grandma would say, gallivanting day. She went gallivanting on the 3rd of each month, and that was the only time she left the farm. All right, let's see here if I can see any more of these. All the little dots, that one kind of got absorbed. This one's nice and I can see them. There's probably some more along in here, so I'm guesstimating on that one. I can't see them at all on there. Mary and Becky, tell us how you shorten a zipper. Okay. Let's see. I have a ton of 7-inch zippers for some reason. All right, this is a 14-inch zipper. So let's say you want a 12-inch zipper, okay? You can do some stitches over the teeth. Really, really good with like button thread or just sew across them. But the easiest way to get the zipper pulled out of the way, and if you just do some, you want to make new stops. Some people will try to remove the stop, which is just got little teeth on it that you can sometimes pry apart and move farther down. What I tend to do is figure out where I want to shorten it to. So if I this the teeth section to be 12 inches, I would make sure everything's still like the stops on this match. And then I would make some thread go over the teeth, just like this is over the teeth. You just want something so when you pull this up, it doesn't just go zing off the end, because once it goes zing off the end, you'll never get it back on, no matter how hard you try. I've tried. But I just make something to make a stop. I don't think I'm good enough with my hands anymore to pull that out. It's got little teeth on there, and you stick them through and then bend them over. So what I do is with button thread, I'll just loop thread around. And then once it's sewn into position, the stitching in the piece of clothing, the bag, or whatever will help provide a stop as well. You just want to provide something to stop it. That's a way to do it. Or if you want to do it the opposite way, it can be done too. I just prefer that way than this way because this has got such a pretty ending. It's not rough and like sewing over the zipper would be. But you can also just make button thread. And when I say sew over, come up on one side of the zipper and then go back down on the other about 4 or 5 times with like button thread. And it will give you a new stop. Try to use thread if you can. I mean, all I have in button thread, I think, is black. So I would use black thread. But if you could get blue or whatever color your zipper is, then it wouldn't be quite as visible that you chopped off 2 inches off the zipper. You just want to provide a stop for your, whatever they call this piece here, the pull. You want to give it a stop so you're not pulling it free, because the teeth, they go, when they go through there and you're pulling on it, it's actually putting one over the top of the other. So you just want to make sure there's a stop that it will stop. Now, when you're putting a zipper, I'll just do this real quick, but we'll do it better tomorrow. Okay. So if you think about when you have your lining in your bag, okay, so let's deal with the bottom lining. So if you want lining on the inside of your bag, Mary was saying fold the edge back. Well, what does that do when you do that? You have, here's your side, So that's folded back. So when you look down in your bag, you've got print, right? So that's basically, if you flip this back this way, all right, you've got your lining face up, okay? Now let's think about when you put your fabric on the outside of the bag. Mary said fold it over and lay it on so it's close up like that. But all you got to do is, okay, here's your zipper, face up, your lining face up. So lining face up, put your zipper down, take your outside fabric, put it right side down on top of the zipper, sew along your side here, okay? Don't go all the way to the end of the zipper on either end. Come short, because what you have to do, all right, let's put some pins in this so it's visible. I'm going to pretend these are stitches. Oh, I've got I was like, the cardboard's in there. Why am I having such a hard time? So I'm going to do that. All right. Lining right side up. Put your zipper right side up. Okay. And then your outer fabric right side down on top of the zipper. Then you're going to stitch close to the zipper teeth. And Mary, you might be right. Basting might be a really good thing. You want to just make sure your edges are all even. So you're sewing through the lining, the zipper, and the outer fabric. This is just for demo. It's not going to be perfect. And we'll do this again tomorrow. I hope we can make a little bag tomorrow. All right. So now you've stitched it. Pretend it's stitched. Okay. So you've got your outer fabric here. You fold it back, and guess what? It exposes your teeth. Well, then your lining goes to the inside. And what you'll do is you'll press this really well. Okay. Then you're going to top stitch. Get close to the edge of the fabric without going through the teeth. You just want to make sure you are top stitching the layers together. Again, fall short of the end. You need the ends to be free. All right. You're going to repeat this same thing. So you have an open sandwich over here and the zipper's in the middle, but it's here. And then you're going to repeat this same process for the other side of the zipper. So you'll have your zipper up, your lining up, your fabric down. All right, you're going to do the same process again of stitching. So you'll end up with something that looks like this on both sides. All right, then what you have to do is you have to open your zipper, because if you do not open your zipper, you will not be able to turn this right side out. Okay, and what you'll need to do on your lining, well, step back, open your zipper. Okay, then you're going to put your outside fabric together with your outside fabric, your lining fabric with your lining fabric. So you'd have outside fabric, lining fabric. Your zipper's open in the middle. You're going to stitch all the way around, and on the bottom of your lining, you'll want to leave 4 to 5 inch opening, depending on how big your bag is. All right, keep in mind, your zipper is open. You got to have that zipper open when you do this step, or you'll be all messed up. So you'll start sewing over here, and you go all the way around, and stop where you decide you're going to stop. Always do a forward and reverse wherever you stop and start to give it stability. All right. Once you get all of that done, you'll be able to go through this opening, go through the zipper, pull your bag through all the way through, and then you'll be able to tuck your lining back down inside the bag. It's really quite magical. And we'll do that. We'll make a bag again, but with a lining. That's what they call it. They call it birthing a bag when you do that flip, and it's just like, wow, that's so cool. So we'll do that tomorrow. I will make one bag with you guys out of this fabric. So I will concentrate on just getting one hand stitched. And you're toast too. Hi, Christine. Why are you toast? There's so many people here right now. I've missed some folks, and I'm sorry, guys. So I will show you how to do that tomorrow. Now, if you want, I can show you how to make a bag that will sit up on the table. Do you guys want a little tote bag? If you want that, I'll draw the pattern up and give you all the pattern dimensions. Because what you'll have to do is you have to make your bag so it's kind of like a triangle on the side. It comes out some, and you cut those little squares out like we did on the tote bag. And that will give you a bag that's got like this flat bottom that will actually stand up on the table. All right, so we'll work on that tomorrow. And let's see, which one? I think I want to... Which one am I going to keep working on? It doesn't matter. I'll pick one. And I need to see if I've got a 7-inch zipper in there that will work. I will just have to add a little bit of fabric to the ends. That's another thing. What I was saying to Mary is if you put a little piece of fabric, the reason I say 1 inch by about 2 inch is your zippers are always about 1 inch wide. If you put a little piece of fabric, let's see, I don't think I have anything that's 1 inch wide. Well, maybe. All right. So just pretend this is my 1 by 2. What I was saying is if you here's your zipper. If you take your fabric and you kind of line it up with the edge of the zipper, and I'll put a pin in here like this. And a pin in here like, kind of put your zipper like if that has space enough to keep going, but it's not going to. That's just to keep it at the 1 inch wide. All right, so the reason I'm putting the pins in is because I want to reach in here and pull that tab out. Okay. All right, then I'll take it to my sewing machine, and I can still, you can actually flip it over and sew over here. Keep your stops even. And then just kind of stitch about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. And then what you'll do is once it's stitched, this will fold open kind of like that. And that gives you extra material to sew in that seam where you're having to do the flip. So you're not trying to bend this stiff zipper material. You're going to have nice fabric in there for the ends where you're having to do where you bring the two outside fabrics together and the two linings together. It's easier if you have this lighter weight fabric in here as an additional little cheat kind of thing. All right. So yeah, that's what worked out good on that bag I made the other day. Let me go get that bag that I made last Friday. Here. Okay. This will show you guys. See where I've got that little cheater piece of fabric right there? That fabric's so much easier to deal with than this hard zipper material. And then I got the French seams done in this one. There. So this is one I made because I got so flustered with the little one we did together last week on the project bags. I made this one bigger. And I actually ended up making this a good size bigger than my zipper. So it's bigger than the other project bag, because this is like, let's see, 12. This is like 15 and a half by 10 and a half. So this is a really good sized project bag here. And I went in my beads, and I have this whole collection of dangles that I got in a swap, and I just attached one of those to the little bag, and I thought it turned out really cute. So we'll play with these some more tomorrow. I'm not going to keep you guys really late because I know somebody else is doing Wednesday nights. I think it's Kathy's World does like a paint along on Wednesdays. And then somebody else comes on Wednesday afternoons. Is it Vicky? Does Vicky come on Wednesdays? I can't remember. And Gina does something during the week too. I can't keep up with everybody. A whiskey sour. Yeah, the fake sugars do nasty things to my digestive tracts. Was Gina on today? Is she on now? Gina is usually Tuesdays. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. I'm going to doodle some more with the pen, and because I'm about talked out. My throat is really scratchy. But I will focus on one of these. I think I'll probably focus on this one because I've already done so much on it. Do some more doodling with the markers, and then tomorrow we'll get together and I'll make a small zipper pouch out of this piece. Okay? So I hope you guys are fun, and hopefully this will all hold up to wear and all that. And I'm looking forward to turning it into a bag. Brittany said she's going to stream later. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 3:30, simply because of Scott's schedule. All right. Once he gets settled on whatever, we'll set a certain time. But I'm still adjusting, and I hope you guys can bear with me. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.